Educator turnover is one of the biggest problems in early childhood education in Australia. When staff leave, children lose the people they trust, programs stop running smoothly, and team morale drops. Keeping educators in their jobs matters because it affects how stable a service feels for children and families and shapes the quality of learning and care every day. Research shows that long hours, stress, and limited support are the main reasons educators quit. These pressures weaken what the Early Years Learning Framework version 2 describes as belonging, well-being, and connection. Strong leadership and a fair workplace culture help people stay in the field. Retention is not only about pay, it is about respect, time, and support. Many educators join this sector because they love working with children, not for money. But when the workload becomes too heavy and support is limited, passion fades. And once that happens, good educators leave. This presentation explains why educators leave, how turnover affects EYLF and NQS outcomes, and what services can do to keep skilled people for the long term. The early childhood education and care sector in Australia has faced workforce shortages for more than a decade. The issue is now critical. Demand for childcare continues to grow as more families rely on two incomes, but the number of qualified educators has not kept up. Many centers operate below full capacity because they cannot meet the ratio requirements. Some close rooms while other run turns families away. This affects access and affordability for parents, but it also drains morale within the services. When educators work short-staffed, quality and safety both suffer. Thorpe et al. 2014 found that burnout, long hours, and limited recognition are major reasons people leave the field. The pressure of balancing emotional care, educational planning, and administrative duties often leads to exhaustion. Bull et al. 2014 showed that a poor workplace culture and a lack of well-being support increase this pattern, pushing educators toward burnout. Low pay remains another major concern for this. Many educators earn close to the minimum wage, despite having a qualification and handling significant responsibilities. It is common for experienced staff to leave for better paying jobs in school, administration, or healthcare. In rural and regional areas, wages are not enough to offset travel or relocation costs, making retention even harder. Educators also report a lack of professional recognition. They are often treated as babysitters rather than qualified professionals, which reduces motivation and pride in their work. Another issue is the lack of time for planning and reflection. Non-contact hours are often cut short due to staff shortages. Educators end up taking work home or skipping breaks, which build resentment and fatigue. Once one person leaves, others take on extra duties, and the cycle repeats. This creates an unstable work environment. New staff frequently enter with limited induction, leaving them uncertain about expectations and routines. Confidence drops because mistakes rise and families notice inconsistency. Leadership quality also varies. Some directors mentor their teams well and provide regular feedback. Others focus only on compliance and paperwork, leaving educators feeling unseen. ACECQA 2019 knows that educational leaders play a vital role in staff development, but the effectiveness of leadership depends on experience and attitude. When a leadership is strong, educators feel supported. When it is weak, retention drops quickly. Families are also affected. When key educators leave, children lose trusted adults and parents lose confidence in the service. Trust must be rebuilt from scratch, which takes time. This constant turnover makes centers feel rushed and unsettled. So overall, the sector faces a cycle of burnout, low pay, weak recognition, and inconsistent leadership. Many educators stay out of love for the children, but emotional commitment alone cannot hold a system together. The profession needs a better condition, stronger mentoring, and consistent leadership if it wants to keep experienced educators in classroom. High staff turnover creates risks across every part of the early years learning framework and the national quality standard. The EYLF is built around belonging, being, and becoming. These ideas rely on stable, trusting relationships. When educators change often, children struggle to feel safe and settled. They must form on new attachments again and again. This disrupts emotional security and reduces engagement. Outcome 1, which focuses on identity and belonging, is directly affected. Children cannot build a strong sense of self when the adults around them keep changing. Outcome 3, which covers well-being, also suffers because transition and uncertainty creates stress for both children and families. Learning outcomes are also harder to achieve when turnover is high. Each educators bring a different style and understanding of the program. When staff leave, program continuity breaks, plans go unfinished, assessments are incomplete, and the information about children's learning get lost. This weakens outcome 4, which is learning, and outcome 5, communication. Consistency of teaching and reflection disappears. The EYLF calls for collaboration and critical reflection becomes difficult when the team is constantly rebuilding. The NQS connects closely to this risk. Quality Area 1. Educational programs and practice depends on consistent cycle of planning, documentation, and evaluation. When educators come and go, these cycles break down. Quality Area 2. Children's health and safety also relies on a stable team that know the routines, children's needs, and safety procedures. New staff take time to learn, which can increase small but serious risks. Quality Area 4. Staffing arrangements directly measures stability and continuity. Services that depend heavily on casuals or agency staff often struggle to meet this standard. Quality Area 6. Collaborative partnership with families also suffers when families cannot build long-term trust with educators. Finally, Quality Area 7, which is governance and leadership, is weakened when the leaders are focused on filling rosters rather than guiding the professional learning. Garrett and Gibbs 2025 and Phillips 2025 both highlight that strong leadership can reduce this risk. When communication is open and educators are supported to the reflect and improve, turnover drops. But when leadership is inconsistent or overly administrative, staff feel disconnected and leave. High turnover is not just a staffing problem, it's a threat to educational quality and child well-being. Retention starts with leadership. Educators stay when they feel supported, respected, and heard. Garrett and Gibbs 2025 found that effective leaders create open communication and focus on professional growth rather than control. A good leader builds a team, not a hierarchy. Services should invest time in mentoring programs where experienced educators guide new staff during their first few months. This builds confidence and creates a sense of belonging. Thorpe et al. 2024 found that mentoring and reflecting learning communities improve retention because educators feel part of something meaningful. Workplace well-being also plays a major role. Bull et al. 2024 showed that when educators have access to well-being programs, flexible schedules, and emotional support, they are less likely to quit. This can include simple actions, regular checks-in, fair rostering, protected break times, and recognition for small wins. Phillips 2025 argued that strong governance through clear policies, feedback systems, and shared goals creates stability. Governance is not about rules, it is about setting fair expectations and sticking to them. Workload management is another key step. Centers should protect non-contact time so educators can plan and document. They should also simplify documentation system to remove duplication. Overcomplicated platforms drain time and creates frustration. When educators can plan efficiently, they spend more time teaching and connecting with children. Inclusion is another powerful strategy. Linguin and Edval 2023 found that male educators often leave because of isolation or gender stereotypes. Services that create inclusive and safe environments for all staff, regardless of gender, culture, or background, tend to keep people longer. Diversity strengthens team by bringing new perspectives and reducing burnout through shared responsibilities. Recognition also matters. Small gestures like saying thank you, celebrating milestones, or providing feedback build motivation. Leaders should make time to notice good work. Pay increases help, but recognition costs nothing and goes a long way. Finally, tracking data can help services see what works. Monitoring retention rates, exit reasons, and staff satisfaction gives leaders real feedback. This helps plan better policies and prevent future issues. Staff retention determines the stability and quality of early childhood education in Australia. When educators stay, children build trust, programs improve, and teams grow stronger. When they leave, everything slips. The evidence is clear. Burnout, low pay, and poor leadership drive people out, while support, belonging, and fair cultures keep them in. Bull et al. 2024, Thorpe et al. 2024, Garrett and Gibbs 2025, Phillips 2025, Lindgren and Edveld 2023. The EYLF version 2 and the NQS both rely on steady educators who know their children and collaborate as a team. Retention is not an optional goal, it is central to quality education. Services must protect non-contact time, strengthen induction, maintain predictable rosters, and build mentoring system. Leadership training, well-being programs, and inclusion practices should be part of every service plan. Retention is not about keeping every person forever. It is about creating a workplaces where people want to stay. When educators feel valued and supported, they stay longer. And when they stay, children benefit through consistent relationship, a calmer environment, and deeper learning.